Welcome back, everyone. Guess what? The Google Pixel 6 just actually officially came out. So let's go and compare it against the iPhone 12 and see which specific device you should go and pick up. Now, I will leave both of these things linked down in the description below. You can get them from there and help support the channel at the same time. Now, side by side, there is a little bit of a difference. You can see the Pixel 6 is a much bigger phone, but surprisingly, there are some pros and cons between both. So one thing I will tell you straight out the gate, I think the iPhone 12's panel visually looks better, but because the Pixel 6 doesn't have a notch and it does have a 90 hertz panel, it does make it kind of feel a little bit more premium, and it's a very strange trade-off. We don't really see this too often. But another big thing to keep in mind is the iPhone 12 pretty much starts at a little bit more of an expensive price tag than the iPhone, than the Pixel 6. So this is $699, the Pixel 6 is $599. So again, even with these iPhones, this one is a year old, you're getting it at a more expensive price tag, which is actually very interesting. So in terms of the front, I would definitely give it to the Pixel 6, but the iPhone 12 panel visually looks better, like I mentioned. In terms of thickness and thickness, I think the Pixel 6 is a thicker phone. You can also tell with the camera bump, the thickest point of the Pixel 6 to the thinnest point or to the other side is much thicker than the iPhone 12. But both of them feel very premium. That's the thing. Like, even though the Pixel 6 is cheaper, it doesn't feel cheaper because it still feels like a very premium device. And on the back, you can see dual camera setups on both, and they kind of have the same type of vibe going. So there isn't really like one camera, in my opinion, that's like 30 million times better. But we'll get into that in a second. Wireless charging on both, which is very good. Glass backs on both as well. USB Type-C on the Pixel 6. Lightning port on the iPhone 12. Nothing else on the other side except for the power button. IP certification on both. And overall, in terms of the build quality, I think maybe the iPhone 12 feels a little bit more premium because of, I don't know why, I think the buttons also feel a little bit kind of cheaper on the Pixel 6, but the phone itself feels pretty much almost identically the same. I do like the look of the Pixel 6 though. I mean, there's just something about this phone that looks beautiful. I think the iPhone 12 is a great phone too, but I think in terms of the body, maybe the Pixel 6 may be the better one here. It's pretty crazy. Now, in terms of the software longevity, another big thing to keep in mind is that, iOS is kind of known as being, one of the best, software longevity phone out there, whatever the best way to describe it. But a thing also to keep in mind is that the Pixel 6, Google actually went ahead and increased the longevity of their software. So if you're somebody who actually wants to go ahead and, kind of utilize and kind of get an iPhone on an Android, this is the closest thing you can get. OnePlus used to be that thing, but if you want a phone that's going to last you the longest amount of time, with 5 years of security updates and potentially 4 years of OS updates, you're getting a solid experience on both devices. So in terms of software updates, that pretty much covers it up here. Now we can go ahead and do a speed comparison between both of these. The iPhone 12 has that Apple A15 Bionic chip inside of it with 4 gigabytes of RAM, but the Pixel 6 has that Google Tensor chip, the new Google Tensor chip inside it, which is pretty crazy, with 8 gigabytes of RAM. So let's see how they pretty much both stack up in this speed comparison. Okay, there we go. All the apps are clear on the background, as you guys can see, so let's get into it. Phone calls 3, 2, 1. And I think the iPhone 12 was a little faster there. Camera 3, 2, 1. And I think pretty much the same thing too. There wasn't that big of a difference. Swiping between these two applications kind of gave me the same impression, so not a big deal there. I'm going to App Stores 3, 2, 1. And you can definitely see the Google Pixel 6 was much faster there. Scrolling through here, I actually don't know which one is faster. They both kind of look like the same thing like I mentioned before. And yeah, I don't really think there's one that's way faster here. We can go to get into something like their settings apps, 3, 2, 1. I think maybe the iPhone 12 is faster, but pretty much the same thing. As always, we have a bunch of these third-party applications we can go and get into. So let's get started. Let's do Temple Run 2, 3, 2, 1. Now, I do remember this app randomly crashes on the Pixel 6, so we'll see if it's fixed now. It may not be, who knows. And you can see the iPhone 12 is faster, and it did crash here too, so we're not even going to waste the time on it. Very weird. I don't know why that crashes here. Snake vs. Blocks, 3, 2, 1. And you can see, there we go. I kind of looked away for a second, getting into some gameplay. Again, I don't think there's going to be that big of a difference here. Hopping out of this one, we can get into Stack, 3, 2, 1. And the ad did load up faster here. We did eventually get into it on the iPhone 12. Let's do Bofa, which I don't have. We can do Twitter, 3, 2, 1. iPhone 12 faster. Pixel 6 a little bit behind. Snapchat, 3, 2, 1. Oh, I totally messed that one up. So we'll just load that one up in the background. Very unfortunate. Quizlet, 3, 2. I don't have it here. Thank you, 3, 2, 1. And the Pixel 6 is faster here. The iPhone 12 a little bit behind, but again, nothing crazy, but there was a little bit of a difference there, which is pretty interesting. Fruit Ninja, 3, 2, 1. And you can see the iPhone 12 was faster here. The Pixel 6 a little bit behind again, nothing crazy, but definitely a little bit of a difference there. We can go into Temple Run 1, 3, 2, 1. And quite possibly the Pixel 6 was the faster one here, and the iPhone 12 was a little bit behind right there. Hopping out of this one, we can go ahead and I mean, I can kind of tell you the truth. I think the Pixel 6 isn't too far behind of the iPhone 12. Both did a pretty good job, but I don't really think there was one device that just really knocks it out of the park every single time. You can kind of see that between both. I'll give I'll kind of give both the benefit of the doubt. I don't think the Pixel 6 is slower than the iPhone 12, and I don't think the iPhone 12 is slower than the Pixel 6. Both did a great job. I would probably say they're both kind of tied, to be honest. And I think that's a good thing for the Tensor chip. I mean, it's the first generation chip Google made, and for it to almost be as fast as the A14 from last year, it's actually pretty decent in my opinion. So in terms of that, that covers up the speed comparison. We can go and kind of quickly hit on the cameras. Now, like I mentioned, I'll do a full camera comparison at some point, but we both have dual camera setups on the back, a wide angle lens and an ultra wide sensor, different megapixel count. Both can do 4K at 60 on the back. The Pixel 6 cannot do 4K at 60 on the front from what I'm told, so that's kind of random. The iPhone 12 can do 4K at 60 on the front, which is really cool. Now, with something like both of these phones' camera UIs, you can kind of tell, like I've said before, there's kind of the same thing. There's not really a crazy big deal or difference between these two. I do think because of the iPhone 12's camera UI, they haven't really changed it too much. I was kind of upset about it, but it's funny because when you look at these two, they both kind of look like the same thing, which is very funny. So both of them kind of suffer in the same area. If I go ahead and zoom out the most on both of these, if I go and bring this over here, you can kind of see that they both kind of look like the same thing. I do think that the ultra wide sensor may be looking a little bit better on something like an iPhone 12. But like I mentioned, I'll do a full camera comparison between these two. But just from the first glance, I think both look pretty good. I've already used the Pixel 6 a little bit, nothing super crazy, but I'm pretty happy with both these cameras. And throughout my time owning them, I've been a pretty happy young lad just kind of messing with these. So that pretty much covers it up there. And to be honest, when it comes down to both of these phones, I do think the iPhone 12 is a great phone. I think, the fact that Apple's still selling it brand new means there's a lot of people who are probably going to end up buying it. But I just feel like with the iPhones, especially with the 12, it's a good phone. But the Pixel 6, for it being $100 cheaper, it's a really good deal. If you don't have a preference for Android or iOS, this is a solid phone. I feel like, you're getting a really good build quality. I think the iPhone 12 is built better. I like the screen of the Pixel 6, and I think it is overall better, but it visually looks better. Like if I just kind of put them like this, the iPhone 12 screen visually looks better, which is very cool. Hole punch display, fingerprint sensor in the display too, which is very cool. Great build quality, like I mentioned, pretty good performance too. For, like I said, first generation chip, no software updates or optimizations as far as I can tell right now, so after release, and it's a really good performing phone so far. There's not that much to complain about at that $599 price tag. So I think this is a hit that Google made, and I'm really happy about it. I do think the iPhone 12, I think maybe, I don't even think it'd be the phone I would pick up. I think I would may have pick up the Pixel 6. The iPhone 12 is a great phone. I think better cameras on this phone. Better, I don't want to say better build quality, but I like the way this phone feels. I don't like the notch. I feel like this phone could have had 90 hertz, but it didn't, and the Pixel 6 kind of went there. So I think that pretty much covers up this comparison. If you guys have any other questions or anything, let me know in the comment section below. Hit the like button, that would mean so much, but definitely hit that subscribe button. More importantly than everything else, I love every single one of you guys. Hopefully I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out till then.